If you think that you need a gym full of fancy equipment, barbells, squat racks, entire row of dumbbells, all of the cardio machines in order to build muscle and see results, I am about to change your mind in this video. I have spent years training both at the gym and at home, and I think the biggest misconception still is that you are not able to see actual results from working out at home. But as you can see here, this is me working out at the gym 6 to 7 times a week for years and years. And me here is working out 4 to 5 times a week, mostly at home, following my structured program that also thousands of women all around the world are following and seeing results from. The proof is in the pudding. What I do know is that your body does not know if you're lifting weights at Equinox or at home in your living room. Either way, your body and your muscles, they are going to respond to progression, tension, resistance, and effort. But and this is important, there is a huge difference between just simply moving your body at home versus actually training to build muscle at home, which is how we recomp our body and see results. This is my specialty. I feel like I am a pro in this topic. So today I am going to share with you how exactly step by step I would approach building lean muscle at home this fall, because yes, we are almost there. What equipment you need, how heavy you should be lifting, how to progressively overload without going to a gym, and most importantly, how I would structure an entire week of training. So let's get into it. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the actual workouts, we need to talk about what we are actually trying to accomplish here. Building muscle comes down to actually giving your muscles enough of a reason to adapt. When you are repeatedly challenging your muscles over a period of time with resistance, so you're going after a few weeks of starting to train from a 3-pound dumbbell to even a 5-pound dumbbell, then you're recovering. And then again, gradually increasing your weight that you are using or your tempo or your time under tension over time, aka progressive overload. Your body is of course going to respond by getting stronger. You are constantly challenging it over time. If you're lifting 3 pounds for 3 years and you're wondering why nothing in your body is changing, it's because your body has adapted and you are not giving it any stimulus anymore. That is why I always say there is a massive difference between exercise and training. Exercise is amazing. Walking, going to Pilates, doing a workout class. All of it, yes, it does count as movement and it does have benefits. And if that's what you're doing amazing. But if it's not working for you, you're not seeing the results by doing it, it's because your body needs some type of progression. And that is what I am screaming from the rooftop all of the time. That is one of the core drivers in my messaging for my platform. Stop doing the random workouts and start doing a progressive program. If what you are doing is not giving you, again, the results that you have been chasing for years. And I know this story is so relatable to so many of you because even for myself, I was stuck in this pattern for years and years and years. Now, when it comes to home workouts, I think this is also where a lot of women get stuck. They think that because they're working out from home, they're not gonna, be lifting as hard, going as heavy. Maybe they think they need to increase their intensity, get their heart rate up, not necessarily by using weights, but just, body weight, jumping jacks, mountain climbers. That's not necessarily what consists of a home workout. You can and should be getting stronger by working out at home. If you can do 15 squats with dumbbells and by the end you're like, okay, that was easy peasy, what's next? That is exactly your sign to make the exercise harder. Maybe that means heavier dumbbells. Maybe that means, again, slowing down your tempo. Instead of just going up and down, you're increasing your time under tension. So maybe it's a 3 count down, maybe it's a 1 count hold, a 2 count back up. There is a rhyme and a reason and a method to the way your body moves throughout a workout. Again, going going back to the fact that your body constantly needs a stimulus so that it has a reason to adapt and get stronger. PSA, you do not need a $10,000 home gym setup to see results at home. If I was starting completely from scratch, like I was honestly in 2020, I was working out at a gym again every single day prior to the pandemic and the world shutting down. So if I had to go back to March 2020, here is what I would invest in again. First, dumbbells. Ideally, I do want you to have a range of dumbbells. So I always say that, especially when people are starting my program Shape, I tell them, get me a range of dumbbells if you can. So a lighter set, a medium set, a heavy set, that is a really great place to start. I would say 3 to 5 pounds, and then maybe like an 8, a 10, or a 12 as your medium set of weights, and then a heavier 15, 20, 25. Depending on your level, on your strength, you're going to choose one of each again if you can. I'm going to also link all of my workout equipment from Amazon below. So if you're looking for some, I would say that this is one of the most affordable options and obviously fast. And the reason why we want a range of dumbbells is because our upper and our lower body take different loads, meaning we can go a little bit heavier for our lower body versus our upper body. Adjustable dumbbells can also be really amazing if you want to, again, save on eventually buying an entire range of dumbbells, or if you're also short on space at home. Second, I definitely recommend a resistance band, a small looped one, especially for the lower body. It is great at creating extra resistance and tension, and also really good at activating the little tinier muscles when we are doing glute work and more accessory work. The third thing I really do recommend for more of our Pilates style of training, yes, we have our strength, but then if you can, I also really do recommend ankle weights, 1, 2, 3 pounds. Like they make even just doing 1 pound on each ankle when you're doing bilateral side lying work. Like if you've never used ankle weights before, you don't understand how much more challenging that very small amount of weight can make in your workout. It's crazy. I would say everything outside of that is kind of a bonus. I do recommend, again, for my program specifically, a Pilates ball. Again, mine was $10 from Amazon, and it is one of the best ones. If you can also get a workout bench, great, but you can also use so many different accessories or furniture that you have at home for an elevated surface. If we're doing back foot elevated lunge or elevated hip raise, step ups, whatever it may be, even if you're laying down for a bench press, great to have it, but not necessary. As you progress over time, you can start adding, more to your collection. But I would say the more foundational things right from the beginning are that dumbbell, and if you can add it on, definitely a resistance band. If your budget only allows you to invest in one thing, babe, just buy some weights that are going to challenge you. Think of it this way. You're not paying for a gym membership. You're not paying for bus fare, a taxi, an Uber, gas, parking to get to the gym. You're saving so much time by also not going to the gym and working out at home. You're saving in so many different aspects. So invest in the weights that are going to challenge you. That is kind of the theme of today. I would much rather see someone owning 3 useful sets of weights than a closet of fancy workout equipment that they are barely using just because it looked cute on Instagram. Stop being afraid of heavier weights. This is one of the biggest mindset shifts that I had to make early on. And I know that it's also one that so many women struggle with, right? I see all the time, every time I do a Q&A on YouTube or on Instagram, it always comes up. Is training going to make me bulky? Or I'm afraid to lift more weights, or I'm afraid to go from a Pilates schedule to a strength schedule because I don't want to get bulky. And it is so hard to get bulky. You need to be eating in a calorie surplus. You need to be training freaking hard to build that muscle. Like it is really, really hard to get bulky. If it was easy, every guy you would see on the street would probably be bulky because, it's like they don't need to do a lot to get it. But that's not the case. When you look at bodybuilders or people who are like, have that bulk, it's because they are training in a very specific way to have that aesthetic. If you want your legs to look more defined, your glutes to have more shape, your arms to look more sculpted, your body to just look more lean and athletic, you need to build muscle underneath. And muscle builds resistance. Again, I think that women have been sold this idea for years and years and years that those 3-pound Pilates weights are going to give you that long and lean look. And yes, I do love my 3-pound weights. That's what I use for our Pilates workouts on Shape, but that's 1 to 2 times a week. We are focusing on strength training for the other 3 days in the week. And with that, so we got our 3 pounds for Pilates. With our 3 days of strength training, we have a full body, a lower body, upper body day. For our foundational movements, we need to be using weights that are going to challenge us. So for our squats, deadlifts, lunges, our rows, our pushes, our pulls, I want you using a weight where those final few reps are making you struggle. Your arms are shaking, your heart rate is up, your breathing comes a little bit heavier. Maybe you're starting to sweat. Yes, you can sweat just from doing a chest press and not even moving literally anything outside of your chest and your arms. That is when you know you are working in a state of progression. And if you do a set and you genuinely feel like you could do another 5, 10, 15 reps, that is when you know that that weight is too light for you. And it is probably not challenging enough for muscle growth. And listen, I'm not saying that you need to destroy your body in every single workout. I want you to listen to your body. We didn't mention the fact that also during different phases in our month, we are going to adjust our workouts based on how we feel, but generally speaking, you do need to give your muscles a reason to change when you are working out. One of the biggest reasons why people struggle with consistency at home is because they constantly think that they need to switch up the exercises that they are doing. That's probably also why a lot of people love going to workout classes, because they are getting a lot of variety in the different classes and studios that they're going to. There's not a lot of repetition. But the truth is that repetition, that variety is what is actually stalling your results. And I don't want to say that following more of a progressive program is boring and you're not getting variety, but you are repeating the same foundational movement patterns, the ones that I just mentioned, listing them here. Because if you are constantly changing the exercises and the movements that you are doing, it is really hard to track or see whether or not you are actually progressing in the movements, in the workouts that you are doing. Instead, I want you to get really good at the basics. So let's focus on the lower body for a second. Again, our squats, lunges, deadlifts, hip thrusts. In our workouts on Shape, we may not have the same lower body workout every single Friday. Fridays is our lower body day. Some of my members like to move it to another day and they change the schedule. They keep all of the workouts, but they just move it around. Maybe they prefer to have their lower body day on Monday. Okay, fine. So on that Monday, I'm not programming the same workout every single Monday, but what I do know is that in my lower body strength workouts, there is always going to be some form of lunge, always going to be some form of deadlift, always going to be some form of a hip raise, and definitely some lunges because I really love lunges. So mentally, it's like exciting, right? Because you're not repeating the same workout for 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks in a row, which a lot of like traditional style of training programs will do. Like you literally every single Monday for 4 to 6 weeks, you'll do the exact same workout, so on and so forth. We're not getting that in this type of programming because I know a lot of you, after doing this for almost 6 years, I know that my members don't want to repeat the same workout over and over, but I'm like sneaky about it because I'm doing the same movements in the workouts week after week after week so that we can progress. For our weighted step back lunges, maybe for the first, few times that you do it, you're using 10. But after a couple months on the platform, you're like, oh, this is easy now. Now I can go up to a 12 or a 15, right? That is the goal because when we increase that weight, that means our muscles are able to take on more load because they're getting stronger. So instead of asking or thinking, you know, how can I do new moves or new exercises this week, let's reframe and think, how can I get better and stronger at the exercises that I am already doing? Can I squat with heavier dumbbells than I could 2 months ago? Can I control my deadlift better? Maybe I have a little bit more mobility and flexibility now, so I can get a little bit of a better hinge, more depth, so that I am hitting that muscle in a little bit of a deeper way. Or maybe I can just do 2 more reps of that row. It was really hard for me to get to 12 reps, but now I can get to 14, and I think I'm going to actually increase in the next couple of weeks so that that 12 rep range feels challenging again. These are the things that we want to tune into and focus on. This is what it truly means to train with intention. Okay, now the fun part, how I would structure your week of at-home workouts. And that is pretty simple. If you are watching this and if you are already a Shape member, you know how I would structure your week because it's within our weekly schedule. But if you are new here, I mentioned it very briefly before, but on Shape, we do 3 days of strength training. Again, upper body, lower body, full body. That's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're having a break in between those training days. On Tuesday, we have a mobility day. We're focusing on stretching, yoga, flexibility, opening up our joints, creating again more depth so that we can have more range when we're going through movements, and then also a little bit of core activating, turning it on for the day ahead. Tuesdays are like my favorite days. I get a little stretch, I get some core work, I go for my walk, and I start my day. Thursdays are our Pilates-based workout. So I call it a tone and flow. Again, it is a mixture of mobility, yoga, Pilates. We typically have ankle weights on, 3-pound weights, Pilates ball, and for a lot of my members, this day is actually the most challenging because they are super strong in their deadlift, but they try to do a straight leg, side laying again, extension with a pulse and a hold and a kick out, and they are freaking like shaking because we're hitting completely different muscle groups, smaller muscles, micro muscles, and we're also challenging our range of motion. We're working through different planes. This day is necessary in our weekly part of our training. I would never prescribe anyone just a full week of strength training. I really do believe in these principles of mobility and low impact training. So that's on Thursday, and then Friday we have our lower body, Saturday is rest, Sunday is an optional, typically again, because it's the weekend, a shorter flow. Sometimes it's even just core abs if you want to spice it up. A lot of us have more time on the weekend, so I know that my members are pretty active still on the weekend, or if they missed a workout during the week, they'll move it to their weekend. Now, everyone on Shape is following the same schedule, but if you are on Shape Elite, which is a newer program that I am now offering, it is more personalized, guided coaching. You have me by your side. You have access to me 24/7, voice messaging, text messaging, all within our app. We have weekly group calls where I myself, along with Dr. Caroline, are showing up and answering, workshopping through your questions. But on top of that, with that traditional schedule that I just spoke about, I am changing your schedule in app and making it custom based off of your body and your goals. For example, if you tell me, Kelsey, I'm like pretty consistent with exercise, my upper body feels good, but I really struggle with my lower body and I really want to dial in and focus on leaning out my legs. I am going to change that split that I just mentioned and tailor it more to your goals. I switch around the workouts in the app and you show up, you open the app, it's a different schedule than everyone else gets. Again, this is with Shape Elite. I'll make sure to link both of my apps. We have Baby Shape and we have Shape Elite down in the description so you can check out the different offers and find what works best for you. But so many women are already loving the more custom feel of the Elite program because of course it's tailored to them and their bodies. But at the same time, a lot of women don't need that. They can just follow, our regular schedule on Shape, and that will get them the results that they need, that they're looking for. It's enough. It's been enough for thousands of women for the past 6 years, and it still will continue to be enough. It's just I wanted to connect back with my members in a different way, a more personal way. And so with that came the extension of Shape Elite. The last key part I want to talk about here, and it has nothing to do with the exercise component. I think we've covered that. Now let's talk about food, because if you are spending all fall getting stronger, doing all of the things we just spoke about, but you are massively under eating because you are afraid to gain weight, you will not see the results. And trust me, I know, because that's exactly what I was doing for years. I was training so hard and I wasn't eating any carbs, I wasn't getting enough protein, and I was skinny, fat, puffy, soft, and inflamed. I had very little muscle definition. I didn't understand why I wasn't getting stronger, why I wasn't building muscle, and it was mainly because of my diet. So take a page from my book. You are not going to do that. You are going to focus on eating enough calories, hitting at least your body weight in pounds in protein. I know that may be asking for a lot. I'm going to say let's start at least 100 grams of protein per day. That's 30 grams of protein for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and maybe 1 or 2 snacks, but some protein in there. That's 100 grams easy, just like that. Now it's really important to properly fuel your training because muscle is a metabolically active tissue. Your body needs the energy from food and nutrients to build and repair it. Now this is also the part where body recomposition gets really interesting. You actually may not need the scale to dramatically move in order to drop fat and build muscle. It may actually stay around the same. It could even actually increase because technically our muscle mass is going to weigh more. But most importantly, what we actually want is for it to change your actual shape and to give you more definition. That's like the tricky mind play with body recomp, especially when we are building that muscle and dropping the fat. This is something that I am preaching to my elite members all the time, especially in the beginning. Do not pay attention to the scale because the scale could be lying to you. Let's focus on how our body is feeling and how our clothes are fitting, and also before and after photos. Those are very, very important. I know when it comes to food, it can feel really overwhelming. Again, going back, our elite programming, Dr. Caroline, she is your macro coach. So we are creating meal plans specifically for, again, your goals, your body weight, your weigh-ins, everything. All of your dietary preferences or allergies are taken into consideration as well. And we give you that guidance and support on a day-to-day basis of what you can be eating more of, less of, incorporating less fat, more protein, like less carbs, more carb. Like we can play around and we adjust until we get you those results that you are aiming for. Of course, not everyone needs that level of support, and on Shape, we also have so many nutritional resources. We have meal plans, recipe guides, recipe downloads that you can also use and take advantage of if you are not a Shape member and you're just a YouTube listener, or you are currently doing another method or a platform. That is amazing too. There are so many resources. There's like a wealth of knowledge and information out there now that you can create, something custom to you, or find recipes and meal plans that work for you and your body. Just make sure you are eating enough protein, you're not afraid of carbs, and that you're fueling your body adequately to actually see results. Okay. I know I have been yapping through this video, but let's strip everything back down. Let's focus on the key takeaways. Here is exactly what I want you to focus on this fall. Train with resistance. Get stronger over time. Keep foundational movements in your routine long enough to see that progression over time. Eat enough protein, walk every day, and recover. Recovery wasn't so much of a focus today, but again, if you are training properly, you need to make sure that you are recovering just as hard. This is it. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need to be going to a workout class every single day. You do not need an hour and a half to train. And you definitely do not need to wait for January to start. Actually, the fall is the second best, busiest time of the year for fitness. It's kind of that refresh, that restart. People get excited to jump back into routine. So we are ready. We are here. We have our fall challenge, our 6-week sculpt program on Shape. It's going to be the reset, the perfect time for you to start. With Shape, there's always a free trial running, so make sure to start that jump in and follow the program, the progression that I provide, because I know if you do that, you will see the results that you are looking for. And most importantly, give yourself the next 3 months of consistent training with intention right at home, and you will be so amazed at how much muscle you can build and how much stronger you can get without ever leaving your front door. So thank you as always for being here. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, write them below. I love always getting and hearing all of your feedback, and I will see you next time. Make sure to check out my latest video here.